We are here to bring you everything and anything surrounding Porsche. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And this is P-Car Talk. All right, welcome to another episode of P-Car Talk. I am Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
And we at the studio. What?
We out here.
So we're gearing up for Luft. You're listening to this, and that will be approaching next week. But we are headed out of town. Obviously, when you're listening to this coming weekend, we'll be on the road. Yeah. No, we're going to be bouncing around, gathering up guests for you guys. So that'll be some stuff we're going to do. But we got a great show for you, Aaron. Let's thank our people.
Yep. So we got all of our Patreon supporters, and we're going to start with the producers, like always. Got Brandon J, Eric A, and then Robert G.
What? Thank you, peeps.
The rest are all Sriracha boys.
Them hot boys.
Yep. We got Sean H, Niki F, Scott H, Matthew G, Brian R, Matt M, Aaron L, Todd M.
And some of you guys are double dipping, and I love that. I love you guys for that. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all of our continuing support from our members. That helps support us as well. And if you are interested in that, get on that waiting list, because go to pcartalk.com. That waiting list is growing to become an RS member.
Always.
And we're open right now for some Patreon stuff, so you can get on there and become a hot boy / Sriracha boy and do your thing and help support us, right?
Always.
All right. So Porsche is going to, first time in their history, is going to build a factory in Malaysia. They're going to be outside of Germany making cars somewhere else to support the Asian market demand. There's a lot going on over there, apparently, that we don't know. There's a lot of cars being bought over there. They've also considered maybe building a place in Shanghai because there's so much demand in China for Porsche. What does this spell for Porsche long term? Does this, because they used to kind of be a boutique brand, right? So now, of course, we're enthusiasts. We're trying to help make them mainstream. Not necessarily they need our help. Their cars are speaking for themselves. However, are they starting to roll into a little bit more mass production here, and are we going to see, is a little bit of that glimmer and specialness going to leave because of that? Not that their car quality is going to leave. I don't mean that. I mean, is it going to leave because maybe now we see so many of them? Is it going to, across the globe, not just in the US, is it, do you see that's possible now? Because if they're building one here, what's the next step? They're talking about Shanghai. What if they build one in the US too? And now, is the QC still the same? Is things being different? Like, you got Bubba in Alabama building Porsches now. It's like, this some bitch right here. I got the 911. The engine's in the wrong spot, son of a bitch. That's what's wrong with it.
Yeah. I can see a couple things. I think this shows that Volkswagen has got some influence on them by saying, all right, you've been small production for long enough. We're gonna, and we know we can make a little bit. We know the money's here. We see it. Would be another question too, is like, so are the GT products staying in flocked? Are they only, does anything get designed outside of Germany that's that level of product? I don't think that. I mean, I don't want to assume, but as of right now, I'm sure Andy's got his teeth deep in that, and he's like, look, this will never happen while I'm here. So do you think they just allow the SUVs and everything else? Kind of like, I mean, Volkswagen's done that before and with different things.
Yeah, I would say everything in that region, pretty much bought in that region anyways, is more crossover SUV sedan type stuff anyways. They're not going to build a whole line to make 911s over there. They're not pumping that many 911s because that Asian market, well, the Asian market, even to this day, like we talked about, they're building the long waist Panamera, the long wheelbase Panamera for China because they like that limo style service. So maybe this is just for all their passenger cars for that region. Okay, whatever. They didn't say what it was going to be. That this is just a big announcement that they're going to build this over there. I was just kind of wanting to speculate on the fallout that we could think of.
What if it's a new full EV factory over there?
It could be, but they didn't get into that. I think it spells.
It's going to be delusion again. I mean, It's going to be, we already have how many different variants of stuff. I think it's going to be, we may not see it from our perspective if it stays over there.
It's true.
It doesn't influence us.
Yeah, because I don't even think they're going to sell that long wheelbase Panamera in the U.S. So in the North American market, we'll never see that car, I don't think. Because I think that's a China-specific vehicle, from what I understand. I think it's obviously good for Porsche. We have to think of this with the
more
different
dollars, more racing.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of thinking of this. Is okay, maybe because of this, as we all know, and from history lessons within Porsche, they do reutilize that money for the good stuff like we like. So essentially all of the normies go out and buy all these cars all across the world that aren't interested in racing, and all of us folks that are racing oriented or interested in that get the benefit from it, essentially.
Must be one expensive LMDH program happening.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, they're building other factories, right? Yeah. It's like, Jesus, like, what?
Round up the wagons, boys.
Yeah. You're like, so this thing has re-entry tiles on the bottom of it for just in case we go to space with this thing later. And
I'm not saying we are. I'm not saying we're not.
Exactly. So after the race, we're going to shoot this thing into space. It'll actually fly around the globe and come back and land at Le Mans. That's what's happening with this thing.
Yes, it's the fastest.
Who knows? But I'm hoping this helps support all of the other good stuff that we like, all the money that maybe that goes into the GT program, all the money it goes into, because as we know, well, people don't all know this, but they seem to think that those GT cars make a lot of money and all this stuff. Yes, they charge a lot of money, but there's a lot of R&D that goes into those cars, and it translates from the RSR, which is expensive to run that program. Yep. When you only sell, obviously the anomaly with the 991.1, when you sell 6,800 or whatever,
yeah, they sell a bunch.
Minus of those, when you only sell, generally they average around 2,300 to 2,500 of a specific car. You're not really making your money back on. I don't care what you charge on those. You're not making your money back on those things.
Like for example, if we roll into the 997 4-liter that they made, when they had to engineer the turn signal, we heard from Andy on that one thing. It was like $250,000 just in. Not in product design, not any of that.
No.
That was just
to test.
That was just them coming up with the idea that how this is going to work. It was doing,
and then they wanted to test it. Yeah.
So
just for that.
The other thing I thought about too, the Asian market, I believe, is growing a full racing program, like and just in general.
They've been already. They have
more races. I thought.
Yeah, but they already have a Cup Series too.
Yeah.
Over there, an Asian Cup Series.
Maybe that's why they're doing a little bit
more.
It
could be. I mean, there's clearly a ton of money out there for it. I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm just saying, wonder what it spells for the brand as a big. And I think in this modern era, they have a pretty good control of their product. I really don't think they're going to let it go by the wayside and turn this into a factory where all of a sudden now, they're like Camrys and they're getting pumped out. I don't think we'll ever get to that point. For two reasons. The price point's obviously pretty high, regardless.
And it's probably higher there than it is here.
Yeah. And it could, a topic we're going to cover after the break, so I don't want to get too far into it, but there's a reason why maybe these factories are being placed in certain countries, so there's not these massive import fees and all this kind of stuff that maybe go into it. So there's maybe some strategy as far as, okay, well, I'd love to buy a Porsche, but I'm not going to pay 10x for it to bring it in because it's not built here.
It's true.
So, yeah, I digress on that.
We'll get some weird stuff coming out of there, maybe. Maybe they do something different. Maybe it does influence some weird full EV builds.
Well, the nice part, what it could end up doing, too, long-term for everybody, just because maybe more people in Asia will see those cars, more people will be there. Maybe it'll brew more engineers. Maybe it'll brew more design engineers. And maybe some of those people have aspirational goals to maybe either, A, work for Porsche or help design cars for Porsche. So it could breed a whole nother grouping of people that you don't know what you don't know. Maybe they know it exists, but there's no inspiration for them there because there's nothing around. But now maybe this is going to infuse that entire region with inspiration, and there's going to be young people that are going to grow up and do great things and all this kind of stuff within the Porsche family possibly. So there's that too. And also maybe even young race car drivers that maybe have a ton of potential that never even thought about racing for Porsche. So there's also that aspect of it too. So there's a lot of positive doors that could open from this. So not just on the negative side, right? I think it's interesting nevertheless, because you think about a company that's never left their region.
Yeah, they've been pretty straight on and straightforward. What
and they've grown massively in their region.
Yeah.
From what they used to be, but
And that's probably what they're looking at.
This is a big step for them to go outside of home base and start making stuff. And let's be real, they're still considered a smaller production company compared to like the big ones that are out there. Because, you know, BMW, Audi, they're more massive produced cars. So from that aspect, yeah, they're pretty low level on that. Not in a negative way, they just don't produce as much. So next topic. Porsche Finder has launched. If you don't know what Porsche Finder is, I will tell you. Porsche Finder is so you can find new and used Porsches between 193 Porsche dealers across the U.S. So instead of...
Interesting.
Yeah. So instead of just like having to search each dealership or finding one, now they have one search engine. It has everyone's inventory on one platform, and you can go in there and say, I want GT3 2007, show me where one's at. It'll show you all the places, almost like any other auto search engine, but this one is Porsche specific, just for Porsche stuff. Interesting enough, about a year ago, I could talk about it now because this is launched. I was involved in this program, so I was part of a think tank to help develop this program that exists now. So don't crucify me on it. I didn't make any final decisions. I was just had a helping hand in what maybe this would look like, what people may be interested in. So this is for also if a dealer, you know, carries air-cooled stuff, you can search air-cooled. Yeah, Colorado Springs. Yeah, they seem like they are one of the
only one, really. I mean,
well, there's a newer one that Galopin owns in Santa Clara. That's a huge like advocate. It's a big Porsche dealer.
Has anybody gone air-cooled only? Is that a possibility these days?
Like a new dealer?
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible because you have to sell so much. You're required to sell so much new inventory.
Like, could you, like, what's the bare minimum? Like, how many do I need to sell and then
to still be
just do
Well, you think about a Big Brother doesn't give a shit how many air-cooled you sell.
Yeah.
Because they want you to sell the new product.
Exactly.
And for the longest time, that's why so many of these other Porsche dealers never sold any of this used stuff. But they're realizing from their own product, it's good for them to resell that, even just from inventory money for them. Even a Big Brother doesn't care about that. But anyways, so I worked on this project with their digital team for a while. Not just me, and there was a handful of other people involved in this too. I don't want to like it was solely me.
It's pretty much just Mike solo.
Yeah, right. So we had several meetings on it, and it lasted over a few months time frame, and we kind of went over all the stuff that I thought would go into it. Obviously, they took some of the feedback and what they were telling me they would want, and they took whatever they wanted from me and then kind of macramated it and did whatever they wanted to do, obviously, with whoever else they were discussing it with. It wasn't these like massive panels. It was always one-on-one with me and their digital team, and then I'm sure they have meetings with other people. About this? Yeah.
Green, blue, yellow.
Yeah, so thoughts, yeah, it's not that basic. No, it was kind of like, what do you want to search? Why would you want to search this? What's
wrong with the market?
Yeah,
what needs to change?
Yeah, where's the problem at? How can we help alleviate this problem within our own dealerships? Yada yada yada.
This solves the GT3 market problem, though, or the GT market.
Kind of,
in a way.
Kind of. If they're at it doesn't really solve it. What it ends up doing is it puts it in a place where you can find it. It makes things quicker to find as opposed to before, where you have, if you're a car nut just like we are, you have all your search engines that you, if you're hunting a car, that you go through on a regular basis to see if anything new has been posted. And you're still going to do that. That doesn't take that away. What this does do is centralize stuff within Porsche. So I don't want to mislead anyone. It doesn't capture anything outside Porsche. So if it's at an independent somewhere else, it's not going to be on their thing. This is only at the Porsche dealership specific. However, the benefit to that is if a car is there and it's on that and you find it, there's always that, we always talked about this before, CPO type of stuff. Maybe negotiating a CPO, or if you were interested in that car, which when a car is outside of it at an independent, that's a no-go no matter what. So the car has to be within the Porsche family to even get a possibility of the CPO anyhow. So if you're one of those people, which there are many, that want to search a car, that CPO, that will get them a CPO, even if it's a GT product, this is your engine. Or maybe if you want to search a vintage car that's at a Porsche dealership, this is your engine. So they came out with this. I don't have any gee whiz other than being involved in it. They kicked me a little bit of payment on the side, but it wasn't like anything major.
It's going to GT3.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thank God they wrote me that $90,000 check for consulting with them.
Well, Mike's not cheap.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I wish it was that. But anyways, I think it's really cool to be involved in something that actually came to fruition,
yeah.
as opposed to being involved and wasting time in consulting with them. And yet they paid me either way, so it didn't really matter whether it came out. However, it is nice to be teaming with Porsche on a project and actually having it developed.
Which I thought was done. I was like, oh, I guess they're not doing anything with it.
Well, it's same, because I never heard anything back. And again, to
months ago.
To be fair, yeah, that was like
a year ago, maybe.
A year ago, exactly. Yeah. And to be fair, I was such a small, intricate part of this. They don't owe me to tell me when it was going to come out. They were just using, I guess, us. And there was a couple other people within the market where they deemed as enthusiasts to say, hey, you know your stuff. What would you want to see here? So I hope it works out for people maybe listening, anybody who's not listening, whatever. Just tell your friends about it if you're looking for a Porsche within that. It actually does consolidate a lot of things for you. So instead of actually searching specific Porsche dealerships, being like, oh, this place in Napleton has one. Oh, Colorado Springs has one. Oh, Champion has one. Now you can literally get onto this thing, and any GT3 that's for sale across the entire U.S., it'll tell you.
991.1 Sapphire Blue Metallic at Pompano Beach or somewhere.
Yeah, it'll tell you. It'll tell you everything it's got out there. It could be they took a 04 GT3 on trade, and it could be sitting there because somebody else traded it in for a slot on an allocation or something. Yep. Whatever. If it's in their database, it'll be showing on there.
Most likely it won't be wrecked and have all those other things. If you're looking for a GT car, I feel your pain.
The opportunity to get it, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Good luck on the speed and swiftness if you have it to make that deal happen, because you will need it.
Quickness is a factor.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, also, like I said about like Luft earlier, we'll be at Luft. I want to tell everybody, like I always tell everybody when we go to these events, there's going to be a lot of people there. Come say hi to us if you see us. Love to chat with you guys. If you're a listener, don't be shy, especially if you see us talking to somebody else who gives a crap. Still, maybe you'll be saving us from that conversation of whoever we are talking about.
Exactly.
It's almost scared. Kind of like that. Yeah. Hey, I need to ask you a question. Hey, I need to talk to you. You know, like that ballroom safe word when you're somewhere at a meeting and somebody's there. You're like, hey, muskrat, get me out of here. Like one of those kind of deals. So if we have that look in our eyes, you might not be able to see them because we'll probably be wearing sunglasses. But you know, if you see our heads wandering,
PCAR guys are safe.
Maybe come tug at us, give us a shout, come say hi. We love talking to everybody that likes listening to us because generally everybody listening is an enthusiast like us. So that will be fun in itself. Now, one more thing before we go on break. So my GT3.
Yep.
Update on it. So we did get the headers on finally.
Yeah, you did.
We've got the tune going. Thanks to Soul Performance, we got the bypass on there. People have asked, okay, well, why didn't you keep the valve system?
Why didn't you keep the valves? Let us know.
Yeah. So two reasons. With the racing headers that went on there, the way they go around the rear bracket valving system, the bracket cannot be there. So the factory one cannot be used, so that has to leave. Secondly, since it's I have a primary delete or secondary delete on it anyhow. And they're race headers, so it's a 1 in, 2 out. It doesn't matter if you valve it because if you close one of the valves, it's still all just going through and it's not killing any sound. So that's the reason why.
Break and vacuum leak later.
So that's why there's no valve system now in it. So Aaron was behind it. It's full on. We posted a video like from in cabin, which is fine, and I was actually pretty easy on it. You're going to hear a lot of it too from our drive coming up from externally because we have Devin, our photographer, videographer, that's going to be coming and videoing the whole event. So it's going to sound pretty awesome. I'm assuming from outside.
Yeah, it's going to need to be a mile away.
Yeah, because I don't know what it sounds like from the outside because I'm in the cabin.
I'll let you know if you want to stay outside.
That's okay.
Sure?
I'm okay. Yeah, you don't need it. You don't need that in your life.
Okay.
But since you have heard it from outside the car, let's hear a perspective from like what does it sound like?
Worst thing I've ever heard in my life. No, it's fine. It sounds really good, but It's a tone that made both my eardrums like the ringing. I have had ringing like this, but it's at a tone where it's just vibrating. I thought my ear may or may not have been bleeding. I had to check because I had the window down. I don't know why I rolled it down. Chris was like, "I think he's telling you to roll your window down." I'm like, "I don't think so."
I didn't tell you to roll your window down.
Well, I did, and then Mike's like, he looks over, and then he just gets on it. It's really low. It's low, but it's loud.
Yeah.
All the way up to 8,400 or however it goes. And you weren't even getting all the way on it then.
Yeah, I wasn't even all the way in it at that
but
point.
It's just loud. Like even race cars that I've heard, it's same. It's comparable. It's the same noise.
Because I was gonna say we've been to HSR.
I haven't been 3 feet from it though.
That's true. We've been on track. But when we're watching from track, we're still 50, 60 feet away from the car easily. When it's doing its thing. And it's still loud at that point.
Yeah.
I know it's loud because it's loud in the cabin. Oddly enough, I was really, really concerned about drone and all that other stuff because there's nothing muffling the system. It's essentially just a straight pipe.
Yep.
But there's a lot of piping that it goes through to create the sound that it's creating. However, it sounds really good.
Yeah. Probably you're partially deaf from helicopter time.
Yeah, that to be fair, I don't have the normal sensitivity that maybe most people have in their ears.
That's a good lot. It's hard to describe because I've always thought about GT cars and maybe just so recently for the 991.1s and up, where they get up in there, up to that 9,000 where it's got a shrill. Where this is not, it is still, it's all of that, but not to the shrill level, but it's toned down, but just loud. There's no other description but like ridiculously loud. Because when it fired up, I was like, okay, it's not that bad. But driving, it sounds like the world is splitting in half.
Well, I'll tell you what, for me too, where it really gets bad.
Do you feel all the vibration? Is there a lot more vibration in the cabin now?
Not really, no. But when I have the windows down, because I'm riding with the windows down, just when I go under the underpasses and I'm on it, it makes my ears hurt under there. Like if I'm giving on it, that's how loud and angry it is underneath there, which is good for me. It works for me. I mean, I don't have a wife or kids, so I
scare them all away with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, no one else has to get in that car and be like, I don't have to get feedback from somebody who's in the car. It's like, why did you do this to this car? I can't ride in this thing now. It's like, great. And that's actually a trick, too, for everybody out there. If you don't want her to ride in the car, you can do that, too. So,
well, it can't get any louder. That's the good part, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to wonder, like, what if?
Well, my fallback plan was to put all the stuff back on if I couldn't stand it. But honestly, I like the way it sounds. I knew I would, but I was, full disclosure, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous because I know how those RSR sound, and they're loud. They're super, super loud. And I was just wondering if it was going to be like that at all times. But honestly, under 4,000 RPMs, if it's in 6th gear, you can tell there's an exhaust on it, but it doesn't murder you.
Well, having interior probably helps.
It helps a lot. Race cars, it definitely helps a lot. And
amplifies.
And if you're just going to cruise like we are going driving up, I'll have music on. I'll be probably in 6th. I'll be probably below 4,000. So most of the time it'll be tolerable, I guess, until I want to like jam on it. And honestly, like even with the windows up, it's not that bad. Again, with the 964, it's super, super loud. But I always say this: you're leaving the sound. It's behind you a lot of the time.
Is nowhere near.
No, I know, but everybody's like, "Oh, how can you?" It must be terrible in the cabin. But believe it or not, it's not that bad. I mean, it sounds great in the cabin. It makes a great noise. Man, I feel bad for anybody who's behind you because you're definitely sound waving them out probably.
Yeah.
But
that's weird. Cayenne's pretty quiet though. You can still hear. It's loud. That's what I was telling him. Like windows down is super loud beside me. But with the windows up, when he got in front of me, it was just like a center channel speaker and just noise. I could pinpoint. I knew where it was coming from. Just loud. But it was just loud. It was still loud. Like even though I saw it going farther and further away, it was just noise happening. So straight pipe your car. That's the tip, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, move to Florida though, right? Because obviously that's the only place it works. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll talk about some more things. All right, we're back from break. So I know we complain a lot about taxes as a whole, not us specifically, but us. When I say us, I mean people in North America, the U.S. Yes, we do have shitty taxes. Don't get me wrong, but that's comparable to what we used to. Yeah. So think about if you live in a place called Turkey. If you went in,
maybe not.
Yeah, I know you can't imagine yourself living there because you're an American. You don't want to live you know, but anyways, the point of this story is, so $150,000 Cayenne there costs 600 grand.
See, what a deal right now we're getting.
Exactly. Smoking deal, right? And because of that, it's because their import fees and their taxes on their country regarding an import vehicle and all that kind of stuff, luxury tax, all that. So remember when we were talking about on the first side of the show with Malaysia and vehicles and all that kind of stuff coming in.
Do you think there's tax breaks for them just having a factory there and then...
Yeah, because there's not an import fee because it's being made in country now.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the reason why Acura and BMW and probably all that started to manufacture in the U.S. back in the day.
Yeah.
Where there's kind of, well, it also helps with inventory, right? That's stuff that you don't have time to ship. You don't have to worry about all that processing. So the point of this is it could be a lot worse. Colombia, for example, has 100% sales tax on a car. So meaning like if you bought a 200,000 GT3 and you were going to buy from the Porsche dealership in Colombia, in Bogota or wherever it's at, it's going to be $400,000 to bring that car in. So think about, and I was thinking about this, I couldn't own the cars that I own if I had to pay the prices I had to pay to own the cars I own. There's no way. I mean, you think about how many of you that are listening that maybe be Porsche owners right now are trying to import, even if you're on your used car. Okay, say you have a 996 and you paid 45, 50 grand for it. Could you pay 100 grand for that car if you lived in Colombia? Maybe, maybe not. But would you want to pay 100 grand for it? Probably not.
Yeah, that'd be some skewed markets. Be like,
well, think of what it has to do to your brain when you shop a car now.
You're just not shopping Porsche. That's why they have to be so rare to see them there.
Well, yeah, you have to be pretty much be a baller or have your finances really locked down to know what you're doing in those type of situations. The point of that is I know we have it bad, but we don't have it that bad.
Yeah, that's
so
insane sales tax.
Yeah, be happy that, you know, whatever state you might live in, whatever your sales tax on your car is, I think it's 7 here in Florida. Be grateful that you're only paying 7 on maybe 200,000, which still seems ridiculous. But and we'll get into this whole. We don't need to get into rigmarole. This thing of like, I always have an issue over like when the car sells. Yeah. And I'm sure there's a lot of people have thought of this too that have bought used cars because I can't remember the last time I bought a new car.
Same.
But if I'm 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th owner, why am I still paying tax on a vehicle that's changed hands 6 or 7 times that the government hasn't done anything to except just
make sure the transaction happens? Yeah, and make sure the taxes happen.
Just puts their hand out.
Hey, what you doing there?
Oh, you selling something? What's up? What's up? They're the mafia, bro.
I know I didn't directly have a hand in this.
Yeah. But you live here, so I get a part of that vig. You see what I'm saying? I kind of like own all of this shit called the U.S.
At least it's not
so
Colombia,
if anything's being sold, yeah, true. That's what I'm saying. Like that, then you throw that.
Could be Colombia.
Yeah, they could throw that on you, right? You're like, hey, you want to move to Turkey? Go for it. Go for it, bro. Move. You know how much it costs there?
Feeling bad for our Colombian friend.
I know, right?
I know he had it that bad.
Yeah, he was the one who was telling me like it's no joke down there. It's pretty tough, you know. So I don't know, like what do you do with something like that? I mean,
so let's play this game. 100% sales tax. What Porsche are you now in?
Boxer S isn't looking too bad right now. It's a lot of car mid-engine. It's like a bag one for 14 grand, and I only have to pay 28 for it. That's probably like my wheelhouse right now, bro.
Definitely.
Maybe if I want to stretch and get really fancy, I buy a 996 turbo that's got like a lot of miles on it.
Yeah, I mean that garage would probably like Gen 1 Cayenne if we needed one. Absolutely. Never. I mean, there's not an air cooled, not even a 912 that out. No. And then
yeah, because think about that, like on a 964, if you wanted one like at 100, you're paying 200 grand for a 964 C2 now. Come on, get out of here. There's no way.
Rate anyways.
That's stupid.
Yeah, 944 maybe.
Yeah, GT cars right out the window because it's probably 200 plus almost on anything now, even used 996s even. So
you're an ultra baller to be buying that.
Think about think about how tough it would be, and I know we have listeners all over the world. So I feel your pain if you're a listener, and we appreciate you guys listening and your enthusiasm. Imagine being an enthusiast and having maybe U.S. type money and not being able to own the car you want to own because you live in one of these locations. That would be heart-wrenching, man.
Yeah, that sounds like
that's heart-wrenching.
There's a cash-only deal in the back somewhere.
Yeah, that's
what I think.
Yeah, but even like they've cracked down a lot on that on a lot of countries too. You used to be able to pull that over on a lot of people, but now they don't even play that even at the importer anymore. And then you're still running the risk of getting the car seized or something. And is it worth it now at that point? Because now it's not legal, and now your ownership's kind of like, you're like, oh man, I don't know. And I just think I'm thankful for where we are, and I feel the pain for everybody else that's out there, because that is, man, you want to talk about fleecing. Whew. So yeah.
Especially they kind of like, where does it go? Like, what are they doing to improve?
I guess what my point of the story is, let's, in the U.S., take our lickings and shut up, right?
Yeah.
Still bent up on the used car thing, though. When that exchanges hands over and over again and the taxes keep getting, like, sold. I think that's bullshit.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that is bullshit. Anyways, so next, what are some of the things that we're looking forward to at Luft / Porsche Festival? And
well, I've never been to Indiana.
Okay.
So it was first time for me.
Is that going to be like the Wayne's World? We're dating ourselves, I think. Hey, we're in Delaware. Look at us. We're in Delaware. Like, and that's it.
That's probably going to be the extent.
Anybody who lives in that state's probably hating us right now. No, I'm excited to go to Indiana as well. I've never been to Indianapolis. The legendary Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's going to be interesting to see there. Granted, obviously I'm not going there for any race, but it's going to be really rad to see all the Porsche stuff. It's going to be there. And we're hoping there's going to be kind of a Rennsport-esque, hopefully kind of heats and cars running.
I'm
and
not saying that's what the word is, but
yeah, fingers crossed. That should happen, I hope.
Do we even know how many cars they accepted? Like, I feel like this year's been more hush-hush.
You're talking about Luft?
Luft in general. I feel like it's been more quiet than it has in the past.
They may make an announcement beforehand. They might not even know how many they've accepted. I always feel that's kind of like a...
They got some... I haven't seen the venue or anything.
I'm sure it's going to be cool. They always do a great job. Good friend of ours, Jeff Swart, always helps with the visual aspect of setup on that stuff. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of cars. It's going to be interesting to see the draw from the East Coast / Midwest area.
See what it's like.
Anyone who's debating going or not, I want to encourage you to go. We don't have any skin in the game. Luft is not paying us for this. However, we're good friends with Patrick and Jeff Swart. Go support this event. If you're not thinking about going just because you're like, oh, well, I don't know, it's Nina's 6th birthday or something. Guess what? She's going to be 7 next year. It's going to be fine. Go to Luft. It'll be okay.
Like Porsche things.
Yeah, bring her to this thing. Yeah. She'll probably love you for it the rest of her life. Anyways, the point of that story is, I know I'm just being a smart ass about that, but do the right thing. Go to your kid's birthday, but do it at Luft. But
be a man, go to Luft.
Yeah, be a good dad and leave your kid on their birthday. But in all seriousness, the reason why I bring that up is because we've bitched and moaned, and I can say we collectively as East Coasters bitched and moaned about this event coming this way and us not having to go out to the East. I'm not trying to create a rift between the East Coast, West Coast. I don't want to start a Biggie Tupac war. That ended bad for both of them, so let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not go there.
But in all seriousness, like, we need to support this event from East Coasters and show them that we can show up strong, because if we don't...
I want in North Carolina.
Because if we don't... Well, of course, I think we all anticipated that one happening before it got canceled, but whatever. The point of that is, we do need to step up and support this event, because otherwise this is our chance, right? So if we don't support this event, and if this isn't even close to the same capacity that they've had for the other ones,
guess where it's going?
Yeah, it's going to live in California forever, regardless of what they've said. Oh, this is going to be a traveling event. Trust me, they're data analytic guys. They're going to pull that data and they're going to be like, wow, 60% of the people showed up for this. We're missing 40% of the personnel that usually come to this thing. Guess where it's going? Back to the West Coast. And all of you are going to have to travel, that are driving and making that trip, or whatever you decide to do up to Indianapolis, or not go. So if you're on the fence, I'm going to help push you over the fence. You need to go to this event. It's not that expensive. Tickets are still for sale for, you know, entry to just walk in and see the thing. The Airbnb doesn't cost a lot there.
I don't even know where I'm going. That's how uninvolved I'm in this.
Yeah, don't worry. I took care of all that. Anyways, the point is, I'm sure it's a cool city. There's a lot of events going. The Porsche Festival thing that's happening there. So if it's not just Luft that you have to go to and see this, which is a cool thing too, unlike last year or it was pre-COVID year, so 19 when we went out to LA. Basically, everybody was there just for Luft. Yes, there were other pop-up things that happened around Luft for that week, but that was more kind of like open houses for shops and all this kind of stuff that people were staging cars. It wasn't attached to like Rennsport or anything like that. So this is being attached to a major Porsche Motorsports event. So this is a double whammy. So if you can move mountains to make this happen, you need to go to this event.
And it's kind of backwards because I don't think the Porsche event planned on the Luft event being.
No, we talked about that, and you know, not to air out anybody's laundry, but the point is, that Aaron was saying is, the Porsche Festival thing was going to happen regardless. Luft decided to have their event attached to that event as well. So kudos for them, I guess, in a way, for trying to make it more worthwhile, I guess, for everyone, instead of saying, okay, we're just having Luft and this is our event. And we know it's a big ask for you to come and just come and hang out. I think it elevates the event, the Porsche Fest event, because it really gives you, even though you're going to see the race cars, you get to see the bigger, or the more enthusiast out of it because of it. I think what it ends up being, like you said, it ends up being a better bang for your buck, right? You're not traveling just to Indy just for Luft, which would be maybe, if it was just that, probably like Saturday event or something like that, or whatever.
The Friday they normally do it on, or they have pre-events and all that stuff.
But it would just be all of that stuff. Now you're getting all of the additional support from Porsche that's bringing their powerhouse of stuff out. All of the people that are going to be involved in that, probably a lot of West Coast cars that are still going to come out. Vintage race cars like Canepa, all those type of guys that are going to go out there and run their cars at Indy, and you're going to get to see a lot of cars in motion, kind of like what we talked about way long ago about Rennsport, or going to Goodwood Festival of Speed, or going to HSR. Aaron and I bang on this drum all the time. How many times in your lifetime are you going to get to see these vintage cars? Yes, maybe they're not competing and doing wheel-to-wheel action, but some of these guys that go out there and they run their heats, they go pretty quick and they want to like run the cars, and some of them are competing. We saw them compete at Rennsport. The point of that is, how often are you going to see 917s getting after it, like a whole heat of them? How often are you going to see 935s getting after it?
I can tell you that.
A whole bunch of them. You're just not, unless you come to these kinds of events, because there's only a couple places a year that you can convince all of these owners, because a lot of these cars are owned by a bunch of different
stuff. There's so much coordination that has to happen.
There's a lot of these places that they may own one single car. So you got to think, if there's 12 of them out there, they had to contact 11 or 12 different people. Those people had to contact their guys to get the cars shipped there. They had to get the cars prepped to run. So there's a lot of people. You see Porsche as the umbrella, but there's a lot of individuals participating to make this thing happen. And you owe it to yourself and them to show up to these events, because someday, maybe they're going to say, well, I'm too old to bring my car now. And no, I don't feel comfortable coming to that. No, and maybe you won't see them ever run. Who knows? Like, that day may happen. You just don't know when that's going to happen. So I'm going to take every opportunity to see them run when I get to see these vintage cars run. And watching them on TV and YouTube isn't even close to being the same thing. When you get to see there and, when they like get burnt by the flames and the unburnt fuel and smell like exhaust and all that fun stuff, and get to mix it up with your friends and all that good stuff when you're there. That's what this stuff's all really about. So going back to the question I was asking you, I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of the people we haven't got to see over the last basic year and a half, because 2020 was a social dump year, basically. We didn't get to see anyone, and the majority of this year was kind of a wash. So we're going to get to see a lot of people we haven't seen in about a year and a half. which is I'm really excited about. Friends of friends and people,
friends of friends.
Yeah, and hanging out and having a cocktail and just kind of catching up and seeing how everybody's doing. And
is Monday a thing? Do we know that's a thing?
We've been told that. That's on you. You have a direct line to our friend, so why don't you reach out to him? And you're already conversating about with him to set up potential podcast guests. So why don't you speak with him and get the inside? I'm tasking you with that. Right. Handle that. Also, one last thing before we cut ways here. At Luft, you know, they always have like the pop-up stuff and all of that gear and all that kind of stuff like that. Everyone who can't make it out, comment on this show, write some stuff down. If you want us to purchase some gear and then maybe do a giveaway with some of the Luft stuff.
Known to do giveaways.
Now, obviously, you know, you can comment if you want, but if you're not a member, you're not going to be a winner. But kind of want to hear from everybody. Yeah. Hey, that's on you guys. Hey, you had an opportunity to sign up. Anyways, I think it'd be kind of cool. So I'm talking out loud. I want to hear from them. But I think even just between you and me, what do you think? That's probably a good idea, right? Idea. Like maybe do a Luft poster and a shirt or something like that, or a hat.
I have to get some Porsche Fest stuff. There's probably some stuff out there for that.
Oh, yeah. Probably. There's probably going to be a pretty rad livery or something like that, I'm sure, on some stuff. And no promises. I'm going to say it, and I can be wrong because I don't work for them. There may or may not be an unveil there. Let's just leave it that way. And you can read between the lines. There's one car out there that really everybody's really interested in getting unveiled. We've seen a lot of spy shots.
Yep.
So it may or may not get unveiled there.
That's Monday. That's good.
And that's what's happening Monday. No. But I hope it does. I hope we're present for that. We've been present for some unveils before. It's kind of unique to be able to see that kind of stuff. And
that's where the 935 came out there. And what else was
that? Was that Rennsport?
The Speedster.
Yeah, Speedster. So we might be able to see it because they're going to be on a track. It might be out there running. It might be out there showing off.
And the GT3 RS.
Yeah. So who knows? So if you're one of those people who like to see stuff firsthand, that'll be there. Maybe
LMDH hypercar.
No, yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, but that'd be great. Yeah, all of this is going to happen. Porsche has not advocated anything that we're saying right now.
Taycan RS.
Yeah, full disclaimer. Cayenne GT3 RS going to be there.
You don't even know.
Yeah. So before we wrap, are you still hunting a car? What's happening there? Because
it's still happening. We're on the 910. We're on the 996, 997, 991 GT3 hunt. I don't think I've.
Okay, so we've at least made a decision that we're going in the modern direction.
I'm going modern first because I know
that's what you need.
I'm going to enjoy myself more than that. But yeah,
it's nothing cooler than driving a fast car slow.
I mean, six gears where it's at. That's where I know. That's what I know.
I'm hypermiling this thing, guys.
I mean, nobody else is getting.
Has anybody else got 43 miles a gallon out of a GT3 before? I don't think so, but I did. What's up?
Specialty plates Prius.
It says hypermile on it. Oh, that would be killer. Okay, so at least people know now. Know now that at least you're shopping modern.
GT3. 100%.
So you've gone out of the air-cooled camp for now.
Now I'm coming back to it, but
I said for now. Yeah. So for the immediate future, at least we're dialed in on a modern car for you, and it's a GT3, right? Okay.
That's the plan.
So I'm excited to see what shows up because he's pretty covert. I have to kind of cane him sometimes to get stuff out of him, and he doesn't want to give me anything. And I almost sometimes I think I have to get physically aggressive with him to say like, all right, you need to cut the shit here. Like, I'm the one you tell things to. I tell you everything that's going on. I expect you to
waterboard torture.
Yeah, I expect you to reciprocate here. Otherwise, there's going to be pain here. So, but I don't have anything else for anyone. Do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of PCAR Talk. Connect with us on Instagram at PCAR Talk or online at PCARTalk.com.